Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello, my renegades, and welcome back. And we are back into Married at First Sight UK Series 8, and we are now on episode 22, my people. I am getting there. I am catching up. Slowly but surely, we will get there. Anyway, this week is Love Hate Week, and my God, it brought out some bullshit, did it not? Anyway, before we get into it, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I am on and doing videos. And let's get into this bloody episode, shall we? So I straight away was thinking, Love Hate Week. Oh my God, I wonder how these couples will fare on this week. So it literally goes to Luke. And the majority of the couples, you know, it's going to be Luke, I think Tasha and Peggy are talking about the Ella and JJ situation. Okay, they're going to talk about the Ella and JJ situation. And Luke is basically saying JJ and Ella can't help how they feel and they couldn't have done it any other way. And I'm like, yes, no, they could have done it every other way. But I'm not going to keep repeating myself on it because Luke likes to be in everybody else's business at the end of the day. Luke likes to be in everybody else's business. And all I'm going to say, because it comes up in the next episode, is Luke is the pot calling the kettle black when he tries to tell Jordan that he's in other people's business and he needs to mind his own business. Needs to take his own advice there. Anyway, then it moves to Peggy talking to George about she's sad that she's gone, but happy that she has gone with someone who she can progress with. I'm just like, you know what? You really know what? You people be the ones I watch out for. Like, seriously, will be the ones that I watch out for. And then you have Tasha, who basically said her little bit. I think Tasha said her little piece about that she was sad that she went as well, but I didn't think she went as far as the other two. I'm just like, yeah, they're just really accepting the behaviour of Ella and JJ. And all I would say is, if it was happening to them, they would not be saying the shit that they're saying right now. Let's just put it that way. So basically, Peggy and George are saying that they feel happy how the commitment ceremony went. And I'm just like, really? Like, really? You used to feel happy about how that went, do you? You're both on two different fucking playing fields at the end of the day. Like, completely on two different playing fields. I don't know how yous are going to join up and compromise in any which way. And I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But George is there saying that there's no intimacy and it's not progressing. And again, I'll bring up, because this is what I brought up straight off the bat in my notes. I said, I think Peggy has got the ick with George. I really well and truly do. I do. And I don't think it started from when they got into the flats. I really think it started from their honeymoon, when it came up about, as again, the YouTube issue, YouTube gate. That's what I'm going to call it. It came up with the YouTube gate, the baguette gate, and the squat gate. There you go. That's when Peggy got the ick the first time around with George. So, Love Hate Week begins. So they have to say 3 things they like about they hate about their husband or wife, and 3 things they love about their husband and wife. Okay, and then in between that, they've got to come together and have those healthy conversations in terms of whether they compromise and meet them in the middle with certain things, or something else kind of pops off. Then we get to Paul and Tasha, and like, Tasha's basically saying, and Paul's saying, this is all just healthy, constructive criticism. Sometimes people, like myself, don't really always take constructive criticism with the way that it's meant to be in. And that's something that we, who don't take this constructive criticism well, need to learn how to manage and deal with at the end of the day. So this type of task will be a hell no in my books. So Basically, Paul says to Tasha that she's not as affectionate as he would like her to be, because he likes like a little bit more. He wants to see her do a little bit more of the hugs, a little bit more of the cuddles, a little bit more of the kisses, hand holding, stuff like that. Now, Tasha's basically said, okay, then that's something that she will try. Tasha understands where he's coming from, and Tasha understands that the affection means more to Paul than it does to her, but she will meet that need for him. And that's how you kind of compromise, and you discuss, and you see what's going to happen next. That's what you're supposed to do. Take on board what your partner is saying without any type of malice, without any type of malice, and listen to it and then respond accordingly. That's what you're supposed to do in this task. So basically, Tasha says to Paul, it's his dress sense. And I'm like, you know what? I don't see it because I kind of like the stuff that Paul wears. Maybe I have an skewed sense of dress sense, because bearing in mind, I do wear a lot of Doc Martens. I do wear a lot of Converses, and I do wear a lot of like different types of clothes that people may not necessarily put together, but I don't think I have a bad sense of dress or a bad sense of style. It's just who I am. It's my personality shining through in my clothes. Do you know what I mean? But hey ho, Tasha don't like Paul's dress sense. So Paul basically turned around and said, okay then, you can pick 3 outfits that you can throw away. And I said, really, Paul? You're gonna give Tasha that challenge? 3 outfits that she can literally pick out and throw away. That girl was gung-ho in it. She was like, yeah, I'm on it. And he was like, I don't understand why you're so happy in order to throw my shit away. You gave her the challenge, Paul, so now you have to take it and accept it at the end of the day. So then it moves to Thomas and Roz. And basically, she said that she didn't like the fact that his hair is all over the flat. Like, she listed all the places that she found it. And basically gave a hint to Thomas that the fact that you don't use sex toys on me as well, because I think Roz may be a little bit of a freak, but I know quite a few people that like to have the sex toys used on themselves by their partners at the end of the day, and I don't have an aversion to that either. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, he's basically saying, he said to Roz that he wanted her to be a little bit more adventurous and initiate hugs, initiate cuddles with him as well, because that's what he likes to feel. And they are so funny with each other, like seriously funny with each other. They weren't taking this task too much to heart at the end of the day, because that's what they really thought about, and that's what they felt. Do you know what? These are needs that I can actually beat. So that's what they're gonna do. And then we get to Arthur and Laura, and my God, this task was not meant for them at all. Like, seriously, it wasn't meant for them. So basically, she said that he interrupts and overspeaks her. And to be fair, I have seen him do that a few times. But yeah, it's kind of like you have this thought and you just need to get it out, and you understand that the person is mid-sentence, but they're taking too long to get to the point. That's what it is. That's how I'm seeing it. It's taking too long to get to the point. Let me just throw in what I need to say right now, and then you can get back to your point. But I understand that way of thinking and that way of putting your point across is going to piss a lot of people off. I do understand that. I do understand that. And that's something that Arthur is going to work on. It's going to have to work on. And she basically says that he don't listen to her. And I'm like, he does though. He does. He does listen to her quite a lot. And that's what he said to his friend. Like, he will sit there and listen to what she has to say, because he believes that she is so intelligent that he doesn't want to come off as looking stupid when he does say something. That's why he sits there and listens to her. And then Arthur to Laura said that he just wanted a gym buddy. And she automatically said, yeah, she will try that with him at the end of the day, going to the gym with him. And Laura brought up his white lies. Basically, I'm like, how many times, Arthur, have you been just giving out these little white lies, and then she has to literally question you on them, sounding like the nagging wife, because she knows you're lying, but she has to draw it out of you. And when she draws it out of you, that's when you apologize. I'm like, is it second nature for you? Is it like second nature for you now, Arthur? And he does acknowledge it. I have to give him his props. He acknowledges it all the time. when he says the things that he does say. But I'm like, come on now, Arthur. You literally have to, you're 4 weeks in, you have to try and change that behaviour now. You literally have to. You're going to have to rein that shit in. When you're thinking of something and you're thinking, oh, it sounds good in my head, but I know it's not really true, but it's a little white lie. Because it would tell you, your sixth sense would tell you it's a little like white lie you're telling. Don't say it. Do not say it at all. Don't bring it out into the atmosphere, because all you're going to get is Laura literally badgering you until you tell her the truth. I mean, come on, think about it. It's common sense. So then Arthur picks up his notepad and shows her and says her mood swings. He don't like her mood swings. And she basically believes that she doesn't have mood swings, and then proceeds to rip up that comment that he made and says, we're not dealing with that because that's not true. I don't have mood swings. Laura, that's a mood swing right there. That is a mood swing right there, and that is you invalidating what Arthur is saying. But then I think Arthur placates her by turning around and saying it was very hard for me to think of something, and that's something that I just drew out. I think that was a little white lie on Arthur's part, because I really do believe that he believes Laura does have mood swings. And I'm sorry, the way how she dealt with that situation was a mood swing right there. And I'm just like, seriously, you're not even at the point of listening to this man and then making him feel like a fucking stupid twit when he does say something, because that would have made me feel less than that I've shared this bit with you that I find that I don't really like about you in terms of how you behave, in terms of how you deal with things, with your moods, and then you come at me by saying, no, we're not dealing with that, and then rip it up. How do you think that made Arthur feel? How does Laura think that made Arthur feel? She belittled him and she invalidated how he was feeling at that point in time, to the point where I think he gets so pressured that he turns around and says, you know what? I just had to pull something out of thin air. And I think that's the little white lie that Arthur tells. And that's the lie that Laura won't pull him up on, because she doesn't believe she has mood swings. But if Arthur's feeling that, she can't negate that. That's the little thing I'm picking up here. That's really the little thing I'm picking up here with her. She needs to literally listen to what Arthur is saying, and at times validate what he's saying as well, and say, well, this is what I'll do to try and change that behavior, or try and change that attitude that you see in me. So then we get to Peggy and George, and basically Peggy is saying that she don't need a dreamer. Her hate with him is his career aspirations. Now, George does bite back, but I'm kind of like, George, shh, listen to what Peggy is saying first. Listen to what Peggy is saying before you literally jump the gun and jump the gullet at the end of the day, right? So basically she's saying she wants to know who the real George is, that he's a confident but insecure person. And I kind of think that's unfair of her to say about George, because George has always said that in different situations, in different social settings, he's a different type of person. He's always been a chameleon. So I don't think Peggy literally takes on board what George is saying. I think Peggy is looking at an ideal of where she wants George to be from her perspective, but he's falling short, because George is George at the end of the day. So basically, she did... Yeah, so basically, she did tell the group when that was the incident between George and Portia and everything else, and everybody was going on at George, that George is a different person behind closed doors as he is with her than he portrays to the rest of the group, and she wished that they get to know the George who he presents to her all the time. So my thing is I think Peggy is basically giving too much stock into what other people think about George and their relationship, and then how she perceives it to be. Because if they're sitting there making jokes about her, say her sister and her cousin are saying, oh, look what he's doing, and making jokes about their marriage, then Peggy takes that to heart and then basically puts then that on George on how he should be acting and how he should be behaving within their marriage. So basically she then can say his next was his hobbies and passions. And I was like, yeah, here it goes. Here she goes again, back to the freaking YouTube channel, back to the baguettes, and back to the freaking prizes that he gives to people, namely the squatting at the end of the day. So I'm just like, she just can't let it go. She really cannot let it go. And I'm like, well, actually, my girl, why don't you watch what people are talking about or what George has talked about before you open your mouth and say anything more? Because you're literally stuck in this little caveat now where George is doing this and I don't know how to feel about it. I really don't know how to feel about it. Well, watch the fucking shit and then make your freaking decision as to what you're going to do next. So basically, George is basically saying it's his channel and that's part of him. And it's true. That's part of who George is. That's how he mans his channel. He finds it hilarious. He kind of finds, as we call it, potty humour, hilarious. Me, myself, would I have an issue with it? No, I freaking wouldn't. I seriously wouldn't. At the end of the day, if he's not hurting anybody else with what the fuck he's doing, he's not hurting himself with what the fuck he's doing, then who's it my freaking business to tell him how he should actually man the shit that he does at the end of the day? Because me, myself, I would have turned around and said, you know what, show me what you do. And then, as I said, I probably would have given him pointers and says, no, that's not how you do a squat. You need to get much lower down and you need to bring your knees in a little bit. I mean, Peggy has no humour. She has no funny bone. Like, she literally has no funny bone. And this is what I'm saying. She's trying to judge everybody by her own yardstick. She's trying to judge George on how she believes he should be acting and how he should then be perceived, because what he does represents her. That's what I'm trying to say, and that's how she's seeing it. So then George comes back with his hate where he turns around and tells Peggy that she's judgmental, and my one word was like, it's facts. Peggy don't want to probably see that she's judgmental, but she's judgmental, and she's basically sitting there and saying, well, I don't want to tell you what to do, but you are telling this man what to do. You are telling this man what to do with his life and how he sees it, because you don't like what he's doing and you don't think everybody else is going to like what he's doing. And that's the problem with Peggy. She literally wants everybody else's input but her own. She literally allows for everybody else to tell her, this is wrong, he shouldn't be doing this, he's humiliating you, he's doing X, Y, and Z, you ain't happy. And she takes that on board and takes it within herself. And I'm just like, nah, man, you can't let other people judge how you live your life. You can't let other people judge how you are with your husband. So why are you letting them do this to you? So then it moves on to Erica and Jordan, and shit me, things completely blew up with them, like completely blew up with them. Because my thing is, I can't go through everything that they said they didn't like about each other. My thing is when Jordan said the things that he didn't necessarily like about her, she kind of proved his point. Like, she tried to say that he is not giving her no reasons, but he gave her a reason when he said what he didn't like about her, but she didn't take that on board because she wasn't listening to what Jordan was saying. All she wanted to do was to listen to respond. That's what Erica did. She felt someone said something negative about me, I need to push back. That's how Erica was being, and she didn't care what Jordan said. She was trying to say that this is your feeling, it's not mine. You can't say this about me because that's not true, because I've been through this situation and there's no way I'd put you through that situation. How do you know? Because you could be doing it subconsciously. Your behaviors could be sprouting out subconsciously. Look how you behave with Tasha. My girl, look how you behave with Tasha, and the fact that you won't accept responsibility for your part in that. And then when Jordan's telling you something, that something could be easily rectified, again, you won't take no responsibility for that because you think you're motherfucking perfect. And I'm sorry, Erica thinks she's this perfect person and that she's worked on herself, so she doesn't need to work on herself anymore, and you should not be able to literally dictate her flaws to her because she's worked on everything. It's not my issue, it's a new issue. But no, it is a Erica issue that Erica is not going to deal with. And how she sits there and again basically puts herself in the seat of being the victim in terms of what Jordan is saying to her. And this is what I mean with her, she just doesn't get it. And then we get to Jay and Luke, and this is where the other situation pops off, yeah. So basically Luke is saying that he's looking forward to it, so be prepared and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, all right then, bring it, Luke, what you got to say? So JJ tells him that sometimes you overshare your opinion sometime. And he's basically thinking he's not too sure when he overshares his opinion. And I'm like the JJ situation, because at the end of the day, Jay sat there, listened to the bullshit that that Luke was saying in regards to Jordan, in regards to slapping back Jordan, but didn't really say anything and say, like, you're really oversharing right now. You need to just keep stum at the end of the day. But she didn't bring that up in the slightest. But this is one of her pet peeves about him, that he overshares his opinions, which is true. I find that Luke does. So Luke basically says to Jay that you are not honest in your feelings, and she basically takes that on board and said actually that is the truth, but she doesn't do it on purpose, but she doesn't want to feel like she's a burden. Now he validates her by saying that she's not a burden, and he would rather hear her say these things and voice her opinions rather than keep it to herself. And then he turns around and says, you never tell me off. And I'm like, why would you say that? You never tell me off, because you never like tell me if I'm taking the piss or nothing like that, and da. Now it does lead on, because I am going to come into the other bits, because I'm not going to take it point by point. So it does lead on into the fact that Jay does share this expression with the girls, and they're saying, well, what does he mean by that? And she's like, well, I don't know, because Jay is the type of person where she says, you don't want to piss me off. You don't want to see me at that level at the end of the day, because you are not going to cope with it. But then it's also the case that when Luke was talking to George, he's turning around and saying, well, you know, she never tells me off, because if I wanted to go to a strip club one night, she would just say, oh yeah, go on. She wouldn't say nothing, even though I know she's pissed off with it. How the fuck do you know, Luke? And then he says, like, even if I wanted to go get a girl's number, she would, and I got this girl's number, she probably still wouldn't say. And I'm saying, no. Let's wind that back in, Luke, in terms of what you're saying. Basically, you're trying to call Jay a pushover. That's what Luke is trying to do. He's trying to call her a pushover, and that is full of BS. That is absolute fuck shit in my books at the end of the day, because Jay is not stupid, yeah? Jay would be the type of person, if you try to take her kindness for weakness, she's going to rein your ass back in, and she will do it when she needs to do it. She ain't gonna just do it because you feel that you need to be told off for some reason or the other at the end of the day. And this is where I said you have to be careful in how Luke thinks, because his thinking came out in the JJ and Ella situation, and I was like, okay, is that how your brain works then? Is that how your thinking works? And now you're thinking that because Jay doesn't pull you up on certain things, you think that you may be able to take advantage of her and do what you want to do. At the end of the day, Jay is not your mother. Jay is not your mother. So if you take the actions that you take, you can't then blame Jay for not pulling you up on your bullshit, because you shouldn't have done it in the first place. Then don't sit there and think that you can take advantage of this woman, because that's not how it's going to go down. That's not how it's going to go down, Luke, and you're going to get your fucking balls bit the fuck off if you try it with her. That's all I'm going to say. And sometimes I think some of these people need to accept some of the freaking traits and personalities of the people that they're coupled off with at the end of the day, because I don't think they do, and they unknowingly or knowingly heap a lot of pressure on their partner's shoulders that they're trying to strive to, but it just doesn't help and support them at the end of the day. So then it goes back to the flats and you see Laura and Arthur in the gym, and it then comes out that love Arthur's got no motherfucking stamina. And I'm like, how do you have no stamina? You're a tennis coach. Don't you run up and down the freaking tennis court or not? I don't understand how this man literally went on the stepper to go do some cardio, and this man was already out of breath after a couple of seconds. I'm like, that's not gonna bode well in the bedroom, my love. You're not doing people any type of favors in terms of how you literally have the stamina in the bedroom at the end of the day. So then we quickly see to Thomas and Roz, and they're having fun. So Thomas went on a little shopping excursion, and I knew straight away with that black bag and the rest of the stuff that Thomas brought out that he went to Ann Summers. He went to Ann Summers. He brought a rubber little for us. He brought a little vibrator for us. And he also brought the little bunny outfit for us. And Roz tried on that bunny outfit for him. And let's just say, as the Sims do, they did the woohoo. They totally did the woohoo. But hey ho, let's move on, shall we? Then it goes back to the situation in regards to, don't forget, it's a love-hate challenge. So they did the hate bit, even though hate is a strong word. But they always say there's a thin line between love and hate. So I get why they said what they said. I get why they named it the way they did. So then they get to the love bit of the situation. So Thomas basically says to Roz that he loves her honesty. Like, he understands where he stands with her. Even from the beginning, he said, even though it hurt to know that truth, he knew exactly where he stood with her, which is a good thing. And then you get to Tasha and Paul, and Tasha's basically said she loves the fact that he is a family man. She's overheard him have his conversations with his sister, conversations with his mom, and she knows further into the future, if they do remain married, that if any children that they have will be looked after so well by Paul. I'm just like, that's a good one, you know. That is a good one, and he really appreciated that as well. It meant the world to him. And then Luke said to Jade that she is a socially confident person, that every time she gets into a room, she kind of lights it up because she just gets on with everybody, which I would say is a very true fact about Jade. And then we quickly move on to Laura and Arthur, and Laura said that she liked Arthur's kindness, and Laura said as well that she liked his vulnerability and his pure intent, because whichever thing that he did, even if he gets it wrong, she knows that he didn't mean it maliciously. It was with pure intent that he meant it with. And I said, I agree with her. I ain't got nothing more to say in that. I agree with her. It could, for Arthur, it comes from a good place. And what people need to honestly realize, that some of the stuff that Arthur says is sometimes lost in translation at the end of the day. So then it comes to Erica and Jordan, and I'm like, okay, what's Erica going to say in the love part? Because this gal just bagged him out to the girls basically. So I want to know, okay, how are they gonna fix this? So basically Jordan said that she's caring and observant, and when he's in his own head, she literally knows when that happens, and she will make sure straight away that he is all right. So that's the bit that he loved about her. And she said to Jordan that he made her feel safe and protected, and that they may not agree on everything that they do, but she's in a good spot with him at the moment. And she said that she is grateful for Jordan, and I was kind of like, well, are you really that grateful for this man? Because I really think that, you know, you will take on board the good parts about yourself that someone raises, but when it comes to a little bit of constructive criticism and a negative bit, you ain't gonna, you just don't do it at all. You just don't feel that there's anything wrong with you, that anybody could bring up anything at the end of the day. Then we get to Peggy and George, and they decided to concentrate more on the hate bit then the love beat, didn't think they could move on until Peggy basically watched the freaking videos from the YouTube channel. And I was like, yay at motherfucking last. You should have done this from the beginning at the end of the day. So basically George is at the point where you watch the videos and it will basically say whether it's a make or break with us, whether we stay together or the marriage is over. He doesn't want the marriage to be over, but then it's going to come down to Peggy. So Peggy's watching this video and they show us the freaking video and I'm like, there's nothing wrong. To me, there was nothing wrong with that video at all. All I said is just Benny's got no funny bone whatsoever. And Peggy was sitting there picking it to bits, being negative as hell, and basically saying how it's humiliating and nobody, if you ask anybody, nobody's going to find that funny. Well, you're wrong there, Peggy. Absolutely wrong there, Peggy, because at the end of the day, I found it freaking hilarious. I really did. I found it freaking hilarious. And at the end of the day, man wasn't showing nothing. He was showing the bottom half of his freaking bum cheeks. And he had pants on underneath that. And even when he was squatting, it was lower. It was lower than the camera level. So you couldn't really see him squatting until he stood back up. So I was just like, I just don't understand what her problem is. And then after that, she decided to leave. And I just thought, you know what? At this point, I just thought, you know what, George, you're better off out. Like, seriously, you are better off out. But George is going to stay come hell or high water at the end of the day, because I think he wants to see this through to the end. But Peggy does not hold him in good stead, because even when she turned around, she said, I would never accept that from other boyfriends. They've never treated me like that. They've never done X, Y, Z. And again, she's literally looking at people from her own yardstick. She's not looking further than that. And she's literally judging him because she feels that other people will laugh at her and her marriage with George, that other people will say that he is humiliating you, that other people will say that she is unhappy in her marriage, that other people will say X, Y, and Z. And this is what I'm saying. Peggy holds too much stock in what other people think rather than thinking for her goddamn self at the end of the day. But we will see what carries on next. So that is where I'm going to leave this episode, but I shall be back in quick succession with the next, because I think the next one is the retreat, the country retreat with the couples. And yeah, I think from the one I seen, I'm not best pleased with the outcomes that happened there. But we'll get into it in the next episode. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when it comes on and you know I am doing videos. And I'll be back to grace your screens once again very soon. Peace out.